like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Welcome to another live show. The name of this one is Ain't No Side Steppin' E. And pretty much this lesson was inspired through the Spirit by a video I was watching of Elder Mawatazak out in LA, and the name of his video is Behold and Horrible Vision from the East. And pretty much in this video he was going into the build up to World War III. He was going into playing some clips from this guy from Israeli News Live. I just put the link in the chat room. Brothers, get a chance, you can check it out. And he was going into how Esau's gonna have to pay, and it brought a title to mind. As you see, the name of the lesson, Ain't No Sidestepping E. And pretty much what that's centered around is that what you see happening over there in the Middle East, that is a buildup of the Lord's judgment upon that place. Matter of fact, let's go real quick to 1 Samuel chapter 2 and 6. The Lord killeth and maketh alive, he bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. And pretty much what we see going on in the earth today is pretty much the judgment of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai being placed upon Esau and the other nations and the rest of the people that are being set up for this judgment to come. And the reason why this is happening is because of the controversy of Zion. Let's go real quick to right here, Isaiah 34:8. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. So the Lord has a controversy with these nations for what they've done to us, the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And the word for controversy is rayab, which means strife, controversy, dispute. So the Most High has a dispute against Esau. And the dispute is what they did to his people. It says a disagreement, argument, or debate. So the Most High is about to bring judgment upon Esau because of, the wickedness that they've done, to the earth, but mainly to his people, and the blatant disrespect that these devils have had against the Lord, the Lord's word, so on and so forth. So the root word is rayab again, to strive, contend, to strive physically with words. So the Lord is spitting words at Esau right now, and afterwards he's going to actually bring the judgment, as it tells us in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, to conduct a case or suit, legal suit. So the Most High is setting forth the evidence in building this case. So the case is already built. We're now in the sentencing stages, to where Esau is being read, the judgment that's about to come. And then once the verdict is read, then the punishment comes afterwards, So going back, this is why it's happening. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. So let's go from there real quick to the book of, let's go to 1 Galatians 6 and 7. It says, be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. So if you're planting something, if you're planting apples, and you coming back looking for oranges, then you'll bug that individual. So all that Esau's done was pretty much sow wickedness in the earth. So what do you think he's going to reap? He's going to reap that the reward for being wicked. Colossians 3:25, it says, "But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of person." So they've done wrong to the world, to the people of the Lord and to the world. So now they're about to be done wrong back. Let's go from there. Because, see, if you leave it up to these devils, they'll never bring themselves up on charges. They'll never pay for the crimes that they've committed, because in their eyes, they're above pain. Especially them little hat people, them devils. That's the worst of the worst. Nahum 1:3, "The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked." So the Lord is not going to acquit you wicked. He's not going to hold you guiltless. He's not going to give you clemency. The word for acquit is nakwa. To be empty, be clear, be pure, be free, be innocent. You're not going to be pure or free or innocent. You're going to pay every drop. You're going to pay everything that you owe. So let's read it again. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power. And this is why the Lord is, it's taken so long for the judgment to be meted out to Esau. Romans 9:22. It says, "What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction." So he's enduring with much long suffering these vessels of wrath fitted for destruction. Because remember, the wicked. Let's go to Proverbs 16:4. "The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil." So they've been tailor-made for this destruction. And what we're doing now is we're waiting out so that the final sentencing goes out, and the Lord comes and brings forth the judgment. So going back to Nahum 1:3, "The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked." So they're not going to be acquitted. So what we're witnessing right now in world events is the Lord starting to visit this place. Now before we go there, let's go to 2nd Ezra's, I believe that's chapter 9. Yep, 2nd Ezra 9:1. "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, because there is a set time." Everything is set up in time. Time and chance happen to all men. Everything is set up in this vein of time. It says, "And when thou seest part of the signs past," meaning this is why we're supposed to be watching. That's how you measure the time, by watching the events that are taking place, which I have told thee before. Yeah, because the Lord tells us certain of these things before they come to pass, so that when they do come to pass, he gets the credit. And he even says that in the book of Isaiah, that he told us these things, least when these things come to pass, Jake would say that their idol did it. "Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." See? So the Lord was, when he was ready to start visiting, he started bringing all these things to pass. And before he actually did that, he put the Spirit on his men to actually go out there and speak this word. So that pretty much what's being done is, through the Spirit, we're speaking the words of the Lord into existence, for lack of better words, because we're speaking them and the Lord is making them come to pass. That's why it says at the end, it shall speak and not lie. That's why it says pretty much, sound is kind of low. Okay, I was about to ask that. Just bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. How about now? Is that better? Does it sound better now? Just let me know if the sound is any better. Okay, all right, the water. Okay, so pretty much that's what the Lord is doing, you know, bringing out the prophecies through his men. So this is Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. And of pestilence. Yeah, so this is what's happening right now. You know, the prophecies are speaking because this is the time when the Lord is starting to visit the earth that he made. And pretty much what he's doing is he's inquiring at the hand of those that are in charge as to why is this world that he gave into their hands in such a condition that it is today in. All right, so now let's go to Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because this is all we have, is our trust, faith, and hope in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So the Lord said for us to wait. You know, it says until the day that I rise up to the prey, because the Lord is the one that's going to rise up to the prey. You ain't going to do it yourself. Nobody's going to do this but the Lord. This is why King David said, who shall lead me into the strong city? You know, it's the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that's going to get us the avengement. He's going to be the one to give us reparations, you know, give us true justice. Because as long as we're under this devil, we're not going to get any justice from this devil. You might as well just forget about it. You might as well stick your head up your ass because you're not going to get any justice from an unjust man. Scripture say, let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will they not learn righteousness. So if they're not going to learn righteousness, what makes you think that they're going to give you a fair shake? You know? All you're going to get is a Maxine, you know. Oh, we care about you blacks and Latinos and Native American Indians so much, we're going to let you jump first in line to take that vaccine. You know, it will pretty much, like, I'm not sure if there was a president of Jamaica. He said, well, let them take it first. You know, said let America and England take it first and see how they fare with it in so many words, you know. So it says, until the day that I rise up to the prey, for my determination is to gather the nation. So what you see right now happening is a gathering or a mounting up of troops. Let's go real quick to Revelation chapter 16. And we're going to go straight to the point. 16. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Now, when you break the word Armageddon down, Armageddon is a compound word, right? It has actually two major words and an ending on it. And you have the word, in the Hebrew is Har Magad one, as you can see here, Har Magad one, which it says of Hebrew origin. Har is mountain. You know, mountain or mount, right? And then Magad one is ma in front of a word is of or from if it's not connected to the word. And God, G-A-D, Gad, is troop. And the one at the end makes it plural. So mountain of the troops. So that's what the word Armageddon means. Let's see. Yeah, I know they're gonna go off here, so I won't even read that. So Armageddon or Harmageddon is mountain of the troops, and we're reading here that the Lord's determination is what? To gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even on my fierce anger, which is what? Those nuclear missiles. It says, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. And this is what's going to bring the Lord's judgment. Those missiles and the lasers from the chariots. But those missiles is the Lord's army of indignation that he's sending upon Esau. Right? So Armageddon, mountain of the troops, or mount of the troops. And when we go to the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, and 1, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, meaning when the Lord is about to deliver us. This is what we're looking for. I will also gather all nations. So we're seeing what's happening. We've read in Zephaniah, we're reading in Joel, and we read in Revelation 16 the word Armageddon. Now, when you go to the definition of Armageddon, they're going to tell you about some futuristic war up in the heavens with Michael and the angels, which is Yahushua and the angels, which that's actually true. But they're saying Satan and his angels fighting against them. You know, that's their interpretation of Armageddon. But what we're reading, when we break the word down, amount of the troops, and what we're reading that's leading up to this Armageddon, we're reading about the Lord gathering nations together to do a work upon them. So it says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Now, when we break down the word Jehoshaphat, that is also a compound word. And the word Jehoshaphat, right here, is the word Yahweh Shaphat. Yahweh being the Most High's name, he to be or he is or he exists. And Shaphat is judgment. So Yahweh's judgment. Yahweh has judged, Yahweh's judgment. All right, so now let's go back. Let's read that again. I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And Jehoshaphat, which is the Most High's judgment, is not. See, they trying to put it. Oh, that's the hill of Megiddo. That's Armageddon. That's what Armageddon. No, the valley of Jehoshaphat. That's that whole Middle East region where all these different troops are going to be gathered together or are being gathered together. Let's go to Joel chapter 2 and verse 20. It says, but I will remove far off from you the northern army. The northern army here represents America. And he's going to move them far away from this land. And will drive him into a land barren and desolate. What is this land barren and desolate? That's over there, Saudi Arabia and those surrounding areas that are desert. And remember, this started happening back, it went way back. But around 89, well, actually 1990, when they started going over, I believe they call it first Desert Shield or Desert Storm or something like that, where America went to invade Iraq. They had military men from America over there in fatigues, and they still have troops in those different areas over there. Why? Because this is the Lord setting the stage for what's coming. So it says, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the East Sea. And the East Sea represents the Euphrates River, which empties out into what? Into the Persian Gulf. So all of that region there represents the East Sea, which is the Euphrates River. And if you know anything about the Euphrates River, the Euphrates River plays a big part in prophecy, last day prophecies, which show you it's not talking about no ravine and no hill in Megiddo. This is talking about that whole region over there. This is Revelation chapter 9. Let's start at 13. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. So you have angels holding back this destruction, because the angels are working on the people's mainly on the minds of the leaders, and causing them to do certain things, make certain moves, because the Heavenly Father is strategically setting all these chess pieces in the right place. That's why you have the American armies over there. You have the different nations' armies all in that region. They have bases all over the place. Why? Because the Lord is strategically setting this up, because of the judgment that's coming. And you're not going to be able to sidestep it, Esau. All right, so it says, and the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. So all of this buildup, that took all of these hundreds of years to set up, The Lord has it prepared for a particular day, of a particular hour, of a particular month, of a particular year, into where He's going to bring forth this judgment. You see? So now it says, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them, and this is dealing with the missiles, 200 million missiles, you know. And some rocket scientists will say, well, they only have but so many missiles. Yeah, but each missile carries multiple warheads, you know. Anyway, going back to Joel 2. But I will remove far from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face towards the east sea, which we showed you that's dealing with the Euphrates River, the Persian Gulf area, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea. The utmost sea would be what? That would be the Red Sea. You have the Red Sea behind it. So all that land there is barren and desolate, which is the land of so-called Saudi Arabia. It says, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things. And why is that? Because of all the dead bodies that are going to be in that region from this destruction that's coming. And that is going to be the great day of the feast that the Lord promised the birds. Because the Lord promised them a great feast of these different military men over there. So they're waiting for that feast. They're going to be pecking, you know, captain's eyes out. They're going to be eating the nose of a sergeant, you know. They're going to be eating the guts of a private. They're going to get busy out there, man. Them vultures and all them different unclean birds. All right. So now going back to Joel 3, it says, and I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. See? So this is why it's happening. It's the controversy of Zion that the Lord has against Esau and these nations. And that's why he's gathering them together, you know, to assemble them there, to rain down his terror upon them. And one of the main nations that the Lord is going to use to set this off is going to be the so-called Russians. He's using them so-called Jews, you know, them little hats to set the stage. I know it's in two places. I think it's Jeremiah 49 and Jeremiah 50, but I didn't know exactly what verse. Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, because this is the main problem on the planet. Bitch ass E. That's the main problem on the planet, and that's who has control of the planet today. And this is who Yahweh Shai is coming to visit when he comes back. When you read Isaiah the 63rd chapter, Isaiah the 34th chapter, 2nd Ezra 6, it says, and his purposes that he had purpose against the inhabitants of Teman, which were the wise men of Esau. Surely the least of the flock, which are them 48ers, them little hats, shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. And when you watch this video that Elder Mawatazak did, you know, this individual here, all right, I'm 45 minutes in. This individual here is going into how, you know, so-called Iran has, I believe it's the Israelis. You know, they're provoking them, you know, with actually how the Iranians have nuclear capability, you know, and how these devils are taunting them and fucking with them in so many words. But that's the Lord causing that to happen, you know, because remember, world wars do not just erupt. World wars are different conflicts that have happened, different disagreements, you know, different situations that take place, different rumors, and everything culminates, and then eventually, before you know, all these different nations are involved in a world war. That's what a world war is. It's just a buildup. So what we're seeing is we're witnessing this buildup going on over there with everything that's happening. So when you watch this video, it gives you a clearer understanding, you know, of, you know, the situation that's going on over there. So going back, it says, all right, so now let's go from there. Let's go back to Joel 3. It says, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And that's exactly what they did. They parted the land of the Lord. And the Lord has a controversy against them, and he's about to bring judgment upon them. So we're just going to jump down. But before we go there, let's go real quick, because I mentioned how that the Russians are going to be one of the main ones to bring forth this judgment. The Lord is going to use them to bring forth this judgment. This is Revelation 20:8. And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog. So when Esau first, another matter of fact, let's start at 7, Salakia. Revelation 27. And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, Satan being the adversary, which is Esau. Right? And how were they loosed out of their prison? Because they were bound for a period of 1,000 years to where they couldn't deceive the nations with their bullshit. But now, as soon as they were let go of that prison sentence, or that dark cloud was moved out of the way, the very first thing they did was what? And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. And they've done that. That's why the majority of the world at one time believed that the Heavenly Father and His Son were so-called white men. The angels are so-called white, so on and so forth. But we come to find out totally different. So it says Gog and Magog, which Gog and Magog, this is dealing with the Russians and their land. It says to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So this is showing you once again what Armageddon is. But you're still going to have these wacky-tacky Christians, these religious nuts that are going to keep saying that Armageddon is, the battle between Michael and the angels against Satan and his angels, without any understanding of what that means. If they understood the scriptures, they knew that the right hand and the left hand side that the Most High created are in perfect harmony and perfect union up in the heavens. All right, so now, and they went up on the breadth of the earth, which is the land of Israel, and compassed the camp of the saints about, because that is our land still, that is our camp, but the people that are there are not the people of the Lord. And the beloved city, which is Jerusalem, is still the beloved city of the Lord, but he got to clean it up. And fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them. And this is what's being set up. This is what these nations are being set up for. Because World War III, the ending of World War III, when Yahweh Shai comes back, is going to be ended by those missiles and by the lasers from the chariots. It's going to get nasty. That's why the scriptures say that the earth shall rock and to and fro like a drunkard. Now let's go from there to the book of Isaiah 13, and more than likely just end it here, just kind of like a little short burst, and if the Spirit hits me again later to do another lesson, I will. Isaiah 13:17, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Now the Medes, the ancient Medes, were from the seed of Japhet, which were dark-skinned people, brown-skinned people. But the land of the Medes today is held by the Russians. Edomite Russians, so the Lord is going to stir, and this is talking about in the last days. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Against who? Against America, Babylon the Great. What you read the first verse, the burden of Babylon. And this is the burden of Babylon the Great, not ancient Babylon, because ancient Babylon was not destroyed in this fashion that we're going to read about. Ancient Babylon was just pretty much a takeover, by Darius the Mede, which he just wrote up in there. The Lord allowed him to kill the king and his nobles and all that, and just pretty much take over the kingdom. There was no major war that was fought. So it says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against him, because right now the world leaders are in the pocket of the international bankers. But there's something's gonna happen to where it's gonna stir something up. And the Russians are gonna be like, man, f you, and they're gonna remember their old ways, as is spoken of in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, and 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. So the Lord is using, or is going to use, the Russians to set this thing off, but they have other allies with them that are going to actually get down to it. And on top of that, America's allies are going to turn against her. So everybody's going to turn against this bitch. It says, and say, thus saith the Lord power, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And I will turn thee back, meaning he's going to, and put hooks into thy jaws, meaning he's going to turn them back to them old, communistic ways, the hard, Russian ways, that they used to have. That when there was the USSR, the United Socialist Soviet Republic, he's going to turn them back to that status. It says, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army. So the Lord is going to bring, and Russia has a big army themselves, so he's going to bring all that army out to fight. Horses and horsemen, which is you got your planes, and you got the men that are in the planes, the jets and all that. All of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Yeah, because this is the Lord preparing everything for war. So you see that everything that the Lord is doing is he's setting everything up for this World War III. And in the midst of all of this happening, the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, is being implemented. The whole world is changing over to a system that's going to run everything digitally, because ultimately that's what they want. So at the beginning, it's going to be a thing of they're going to deceive the people into taking the mark of the beast, but eventually the resistors, they're going to put certain ones of them to death. You see? So it says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it, because they're not going to regard any of your goodies anymore. That's the reason why you have the attention of a lot of these nations. It's not because they love you so much. It's because of the money you give them. You see, like the saying goes, money talks, bullshit walks. You see, that's why they're getting down with you. But there's going to come a point where these Russians are not going to accept it anymore. Why? Because the Spirit of the Lord is going to be upon them to fulfill His word. It says, their bows also shall dash their young men to pieces. That's dealing with their missiles and their silos. And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. Yeah, because when those missiles come, missiles don't have feelings. They're coming for one purpose and one purpose alone, and that's to bring the judgment of the Lord, which is His indignation, which is righteous anger. And Babylon, or America, Babylon the Great, the glory of kingdoms, because this place is the glory of kingdoms. This is the place that all nations got rich off of. These well-to-do nations now that are their economy is flourishing and is bursting with all type of benefits. What do you think they got all that from? They got it from America. And this is why the nations are going to be sad and upset once this place goes down, because they're not going to be able to make no more money. Because they don't care about these. They know that Esau is a demon, he's a devil and all that. But as long as they keep getting money, they look the other way. You see? But when this place is destroyed, they're not going to be able to get that money like they used to. And there's no other place on the planet that is Babylon the Great but America. The Vatican is not no fucking Babylon, no Babylon the Great. The fucking Vatican ain't Babylon the Great. All nations are not going there to get rich. Anyways, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And how did the Most High overthrow Sodom and Gomorrah? By fire and brimstone coming from the heavens and destroying them. So if that's the case, America is going to go out the same way. But the difference is that the Most High gave Esau the technology to build these missiles to deliver this plutonium and whatever other nuclear components make up these missiles to bring that fire. Isaiah 54:16, it says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. So the Lord created these scientists for the purpose of what? Of creating these different instruments of war, these different weapons. It says, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. Yeah, and what was the instrument for his work? He actually set up these missiles so that they can drop them on people to fulfill prophecy. You know, he causes fire to come down from heaven in the sight of men. And then the Lord even gave them the technology of the booster rockets and how to get that from one point to the other. And each component within the missile is very complex, which shows you it was the Heavenly Father that was working with these scientists to put all that together. You know, because everything has to be made of a certain material. Each part has to have the right amount of fuel, and everything has to work in tandem, because one part of the rocket has to separate from the other. So everything has to work properly in order for that thing to be delivered. And ultimately, the Spirit of the Lord is going to be guiding those missiles, because they may have certain targets, but the Lord is going to make those missiles go to the targets he wants. It says, and I have created the waster to destroy, and that's those missiles. All right? So that's how it's going to be. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And ain't no sidestepping. Ain't no sidestepping this judgment. No matter what you do, you're not going to be able to escape this judgment. It says, it shall never be inhabited, meaning America will never ever be inhabited again. When we go to Iraq today, where ancient Babylon was at, you know, and is, there's still people living there. There's still people flourishing there. They're still building. They're still doing whatever they're doing. When this place is destroyed, it's never going to be inhabited again. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. And you still see the generations over there. One generation coming, another generation going. So that can't be the Babylon that this is talking about. It says, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, because these Ishmaelites come over to this side of the world, and what they do, they set up shop. They live here. They leave their countries and they come here to live here, to make that money. Neither shall the shepherd make their fold there. Yeah, because that's them so-called Ishmaelite, or them Ishmaelites, so-called Arabs. It says, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there. Yeah, because this place, once it's destroyed, all that's going to live here are wild animals. You could read about that in Revelation 18. You could read about that in Isaiah the 34th chapter. It says, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. In other words, where all of these different buildings were at, you're going to have wild beasts there, because those buildings are going to be gone by the nuclear blast, as it states in 2 Peter chapter 3 and 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And what is that fervent heat coming from? That fervent heat is coming from those missiles. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise. So right now, these what's being amassed right now are these different armies. And in the ancient world, you know, our battles were fought with men yelling, you know, with swords and spears and daggers and bow and arrows and all different types of armor, you know, the armor clinking. It was a big sound of confusion, right? It says, and garments rolled in blood, because you will see that somebody would be missing a head or an arm or a leg. You see blood all over the place. You see men fighting, you know, with blood all over them from other men that they killed. It says, but this, meaning this war, this battle, shall be with burning and fuel of fire. And what's going to cause that? Those missiles. So as we read in here in 2 Peter, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. That's the heat from the missiles, plus the lasers also, but we're dealing with the missiles right now. It says, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. So the Lord is going to take Esau's system, his society, you know, the so-called New World Order, and make it go up in smoke, pretty much. So going back to Isaiah 13, it says, verse 22, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and their time is near to come, and their days shall not be prolonged. So this is what we're fast approaching. We're fast approaching the end of Esau's age. You know, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to pay off. You're not going to be able to sidestep, your judgment, Esau. All right, so with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. To water for all the comments, shalom to the elders and Akim and Akwath on the comment board, and to water for all the precepts. Like I didn't get to any of them. But I pray that you brothers have been edified. Till the next time I say shalom.